Bitcoin saw a massive drop here in the last couple hours to the downside. And now the big question is, will we go lower from here? Was that it already? And will we continue in the short term back to higher levels? Let's go. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in here on this Friday. So I want to jump in directly into the reason why Bitcoin went to the downside. And this was nothing short of just pure market manipulation, because there is a crazy trader out there. His name is James Wynn, had at one point almost $100 million. And is posting on Twitter over and over and over again his positions when he takes the positions on the exchange Hyperliquid. And there are, of course, market makers out there that are just hunting for that liquidity, and that's basically what happened. So we saw a huge liquidity hunt for his position, drove the price below $105,000 to get him liquidated so that they can take the liquidity and make money off it, and basically push him out of business. So that did not work. He has more money. He is again trading, which is insane, and round tripped $100 million in a week. So, and he's not obviously, for some weird reason on Twitter, you don't get the feeling that he's even flinching that he lost that money. So who knows how much money he actually has that he's not talking about on Twitter, if he can stomach $100 million loss. So for me, this is absolutely insane. I would have loved to get like only 10% from that to do a lot of other things with that than just gambling it away. So, and I'm going to show you in a moment why that was definitely market manipulation. Because in the charts, there was no real reason there was maybe one reason to go into these lower levels here again, but not much. There were more reasons to go up than go down, but because we had a liquidity hunt for this one guy in the market, and everybody that copied him, we saw that major drop. Now, quick to the dollar index here. So as I mentioned yesterday, we got here a nice rejection from the 100-point level. We are back at 99.49 points right now. Technically, we are still forming that W pattern that I was talking about, but I believe that early next week, by Monday, latest by Tuesday, we continue to see here a drop. That the dollar index, in my opinion, is just holding on here on a small lifeline that will be cut next week, especially with the rate cut, with a rate cut potentially coming. We're going to talk about that more when we get closer to it. I said potential because it's not sure, but Trump is again making noise that we definitely should cut rates right now and not wait any further. So maybe that pressure will finally get to Jerome Powell, lead to a rate cut, and then we see the dollar plumping to the mid-90s level. So now, why did Bitcoin go to the downside? So one reason for that, and for me the only solid reason, besides the fact that this was a liquidity hunt, is this resistance area here that we were talking about for a couple of days now already, from the all-time high of $111,700 all the way down to $106,500 approximately. And here you see exactly what I said yesterday. I said yesterday, if we come down here, the VPVR will give us support, and we should normally get continuation from there. So here's now a small problem with that. We could technically fall a little bit lower. I'm going to show you to which level exactly. I'm not thinking 50 moving average on a daily chart like many other traders. Don't believe that we get that low, but potentially we go a little bit lower. The good news is, as long as we are holding here on the daily chart, this box from 103,500 to 106,000, let it be $107,000, we are getting supported, and the price gets supported, and we could see potentially a reversal from here back to the upside. Lose this, and we potentially go lower. And again, I'm going to show you in a moment what I believe where we are going to. So here, the reason why, or one of the reasons why I was more leaning to more upside even yesterday, is that the stochastic was about to bottom out, which has happened now, and the RSI here finally also turned around. So yesterday it looked the same. Yesterday the RSI was also slightly turning around, but now it looks healthier. The only thing that's not looking healthy is the MACD a little bit. If I make this here a little bit bigger, to be fair, these red candles are not insanely huge yet. So over here they were way bigger. but also the drop was much sharper. So this could be still turn out on the MACD to be a fake out. If we close today's candle as it is, that could be a bottoming candle with a reversal by tomorrow. And in the bearish case, it could be a continuation candle to the downside. So we're gonna find out. First sign will be how this candle closes and how tomorrow starts. Throughout the day tomorrow, we're gonna know if we get continuation to the downside or if we get already a reversal back to the upside. So in less than 24 hours. Then on the 1 hourly chart, this could be right now here a deviation from the former support level, which is now here in green, and the resistance level up here, because that was our trading range more or less. So we have lost now that trading range, or fell below that trading range. So, but this could still be a deviation where we come back and continue higher. So there's two possibilities how this is going to play out. And one is that we go a little bit lower. So yeah, option one, we come down to $102,700 approximately, get a bounce from there, come back to the upside. The other scenario is, as I just mentioned earlier, this is a deviation, and out of the deviation we will keep moving back to the upside, and this is then the second scenario, and we move here to $110,000 approximately in the short term. If the first scenario plays out, then I would assume that we go to $108,200, and from there I have then to reassess the situation, how we are moving here. So, but in the short term, we need to wait and get a break here above $106,400 to be sure that this deviation, that this is actually deviation. If we are losing here $105,200, then most likely we come lower, and this was not a deviation, and that was just a bearish continuation pattern until we reach here $102,700. Then on the MDX Algo Scalp Gradients, also here, early signs that we are close to a bottom or have hit a local bottom already. So the one sign for that is that we are printing green candles and getting here already a dot plot. And on the React indicator, we have now a double dot plot. So this is usually a massive sign for a bottom with a reversal, an imminent reversal. So that's why I'm leaning more to the bullish side right now, even though we got rejected here from the higher range and came basically 7%, 6% roughly, back to the downside. When we're looking at the liquidation levels, then here we have, we can clearly see that we have now tapped back into that support area here, and at the same time, at that level was also the high leverage liquidity stacked on the long side, so that was mostly taken out. So if we move here to $104,300, we will be taking it completely out. As you can see here, the majority of the liquidity, the high leverage liquidity, is stacked above us, so which makes it an attractive target and a potential reversal point from where we are at right now. So we should not ignore that we got rejected also here from the 50 moving average. But here you see on the 4-hourly chart, my worst case scenario is that we step here into the 200 moving average and get a bounce from there with continuation back to the upside. Therefore, I have a new trade setup more or less for that case. So if we come down here to $102,500, I'm gonna take a long position here to $115,646, but I will take profit along the way, guys. So don't think that I will just run this straight through to the target. No, I'm gonna take profit along the way. And also here, this trade setup is something that I'm gonna play if we are moving here a little bit higher to $106,200 approximately, because that could be then the reversal point. So in either case, I don't want to miss when we are hitting that reversal. Either we come a little bit lower and I get a really juicy entry here for an amazing swing trade, or I get here a short-term trade setup because this here was then potentially the bottom. But when in terms of liquidity, yeah, so and these are the trade setups that I have for now. If you want to trade with me together, guys, don't forget, you can trade and earn on Blowfin, non-KYC, really important. Sign up on Blowfin and you will also get access to my alpha trading group, guys. So we print there in the next couple of days so much money. You want to be part of that. The only thing that you need to do is sign up on Blowfin and deposit at least $50 and then join the Telegram group. there is a link in the pinned comment below and in the description. First the Blowfin link, then the Telegram link, and then send me a message privately on Telegram with your Blowfin account number. So and then my team is going to check if you have signed up. If you did, you're going to be in the group. The group's absolutely for free, guys. Want to mention that here, absolutely for free, and you get up to $5,000 in bonuses on Blowfin if you sign up there. So go and check that out. When we're looking at the liquidation heat map, you see now what I mean with liquidity concentrated above us. There is not much to go for anymore below, and also if we would go to $102,000, you see here there's nothing again. So there's a huge void. So even if we go down and take this all out, it makes more sense to push price now to the upside, for example, to $107,000 to trigger a short squeeze to around $109,000, and then at some point we are going here to $112,000 because here is the highest concentration of liquidity right now sitting, and that is a huge target for market makers and liquidity providers to push price there, because that's where the money is at right now and not here below. When we're looking at the total free market cap, so I have changed the pattern from a falling wedge to a downward sloping channel. So for now we get supported from that downward sloping trend line here. As long as we're not falling out of that, we should get another move here into the top of the range to $900 billion. And then at some point next week, potentially the breakout. The Bitcoin dominance is rampaging here to the upside right now with a reversal candlestick pattern here with a Morningstar pattern. The reason for that is first Bitcoin went down. Now Bitcoin is trying to regain a little bit of the price levels that we lost. And therefore the dominance is pumping. People got scared with altcoins and moved again their altcoins back into a safe haven like Bitcoin. I don't expect that we come here back to like 65, 66% or something like that. Like I said the other day, I expect if we come up here to like 65%, then we get a sharp rejection from there, and then continue to move lower. At the same time, if you watch this channel here for a little bit already, you know that I always said I never want that the dominance goes down in a straight line, because if it does, then that bounce from the dominance is really, really bad for our altcoin gains. Sometimes it erases everything what we made on the way down. That's why I never want like a sharp decline, then a bounce, and then something, and then chop here sideways, losing all the gains, and then another leg to the downside. No, what we most likely want to see all the time is something like this here, where we break down, come a little bit up again, go a little bit sideways, go lower again, and that will lead to a healthy, sustainable rally in altcoins. The Ethereum Bitcoin chart is an indication for where we are at. With the altcoins rallying. So here we have retraced half of the candle right now of that weekly candle, but we still have a little bit less than 2.5 days left to reclaim part of the candle here. I mentioned it yesterday. The most important thing is that we stay above that upward sloping trend line here that was former support. Now it's acting as resistance. We want to close above that, because then we most likely get continuation, which will lead to a nice rally. So here when we look at Ethereum, we're still within that bullish pennant, so nothing to worry about as long as we are holding $2,500. Of course, the stochastic RSI is not looking, all the indicators are not looking really great right now. MACD looking bearish, RSI going down, even though we are still in bullish territory, and the stochastic printed a sell signal. So this could potentially mean that over the weekend we're gonna chop here in that pennant, and then by Monday, Tuesday, we're gonna get a nice breakout in direction of $3,000. So regardless, the trade setup is still valid, so I would still trade this here. We are around the entry level right now, so if you want to trade this is a 30% move here to the upside with a 5.61% stop loss. So if I would be really crazy, I would trade this with like 10x. So because you can make 3x, but you can also lose 50% of your position. So but you have to know how much leverage you want to use here. That's just me, and you should also be aware that you should not use all your money doing that, so don't go all in on that trade now on 10x, and then you lose half your money if it goes against you. Then on the daily chart, so here on the daily chart we have that ascending triangle, and here we were retesting earlier just the golden ratio, so we have lost the golden ratio. Now we are retesting 0.5 level, which is usually a bounce level. Worst case that I see here is that we go to the 0.382, also always an attractive level for a bounce. And that would be then again a deviation candle, because the next one would most likely bring us back into the descending triangle, and then ascending triangle, get us back in there, and then continuation to the upside. So if you want to trade this setup here, I would still wait for a break of $2,700, because it's a different short-term trade that we can potentially do here. We always need to trade according to the pattern, and here you want to wait for the breakout of that pattern to have confirmation that we're actually going here into the extended golden ratio. So but for today, best case scenario is that we close along that upward sloping trend line, get from here the bounce, and then chopping around here, like I said, into early next week before we get a nice breakout into the technical target. Solana is about to lose here that support level of $163 approximately. If we do so, also here I got you guys, I have a new trade set up at $157, because if we would get here a really quick move to the downside and alts, most likely this is the level that we come down to and bounce from back to the upside. So in that setup here, coming along with an entry at $157, almost a 26% profit here for a $200 move here. Into the $200 level. That's what I wanted to say, into the $200 level, with a stop loss at 140. Is it 48? Yeah, $48. So why would I take this trade? Because this the RSI is here soon bottoming out, most likely with the next 4-hourly candle. The stochastic RSI bottomed already out and is trying to turn around. The MACD looks still a little bit bearish, but with the next candle we're gonna know if we get continuation or here already slightly turning around. So in both cases you have two trade setups that you can trade. Either this one here, if we turn from here around, if we go lower, you have here this trade setup that you can play. So in any case, we have opportunities to make money here. Then another coin that I'm still looking at is NEAR. So NEAR is here at the downward sloping trend line of this massive falling wedge pattern. Also here I expect really soon a turnaround. The original trade setup was for me not really activated, so I closed my trade at break even, for the simple reason that we got here a reversal candle to the downside. Now I'm looking at to re-enter at the bounce here. So, but again, that is usually a little bit risky, but you make only money if you sometimes take risks, and that's what I'm doing here. I want to take a risk and not wait for the downward sloping trend line to be broken, which you normally should wait for, guys. I want to point out this, so if you want to play it safe, wait for a break of at least like here $2.85 before you enter this, because also here we're on the brink to get a deviation most likely before we get a break to the upside. Then here TRB got rejected from that $63 level. That's why I told you guys yesterday, be careful, wait for today's candle to close above that, so basically to continue to move here above $63. So we got rejected here. We are now moving to the downside. The trade setup has not changed for me, so you can technically move this a little bit lower. If we close today below $55, then that would be the level that I would be looking at. So to enter when we reclaim that. So when we reclaim $55, that would be my point of entry to $97 as a 76% move. You don't even need leverage on a trade like that. And a tight stop loss here of 7.25%. The next one is SUI. SUI also not looking great. We are trying to hold on to the golden ratio. Here I see potentially move to $3.31. We moved already down there, but we could see another retest. Also, again, potentially a sweep here of this buy cluster down here, which should act as support and push us back into the downward sloping channel with a retest of the golden ratio and potentially a reclaim of it with continuation into higher levels, because also here we are going now for an extended amount of time already to the downside. It looks like that we are close to a bottom because the RSI is not pointing that sharply to the downside anymore. Once we get here, potentially with the next 4-hourly candle, a lighter red candle on the MACD, that potentially will mark the bottom and the reversal for SUI into higher levels. So if you want to take a trade here, also there, reclaim of the golden ratio, at least with a 30 minutes candle, and you have here a trade setup of roughly 12% to the upside with a 2.26% stop loss. And that's it already for today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you with more money tomorrow.